He finished exactly at 5 minutes on the button.
Thank you so much, Professor. Let me start this round of questions. Can I ask you, when is your next shareholders meeting, Mr. Fauché?
Yeah, the shareholders meeting hasn't been set. It's expected that the company will file its preliminary proxy within about the next week, and following that, I believe within about 10 days, a final proxy, and then following that, shareholders meeting, which I think we would expect would be toward the end of June.
Are some of the items that will be discussed at this meeting include your executive compensation proposal and revamping the composition of the board?
Certainly the 5 independent directors that we've recommended to the board and the 1 new director that the company has recommended to the board will be the subject of a subsequent vote by the board of AIG, and we expect their names to be included in the preliminary proxy filed within about a week.
How about the executive compensation proposal?
If I may address that. The executive compensation, the letter that we sent requested the board and management and the relevant board committees to come up with a well-defined compensation program. That does not go before the shareholders. But in it, we would want pay for performance. We would want to have an overarching compensation philosophy, reward of long-term focus on eliminating short-term risk that is rewarded, and also benchmarking the compensation packages that are going to be recommended to other companies that are in similar circumstances, size, and complexity, and ask for periodic updates to the trustees so that we can track to make certain that we have a comprehensive, well-architected compensation program for all of AIG.
Out of curiosity, what is the compensation of current or former board members, and is that in line with other corporations?
Well, let me remark on that. Initially, the board members were paid in board fees, a retainer, and also in shares. And I would say prior to the financial crisis, we're making between $200,000 and $300,000 a year per director. This year, the directors voted to decrease their compensation to $75,000.
I see. Thank you for that.
I just would add, which is substantially less, probably less by more than half than the average Fortune 50 company, public company.
Let me ask the 3 of you, how do you plan on voting on these matters? And are other issues up for a vote? I mean, on the item of revamping the compensation or revamping the composition of the board. How do you, Mr. Falberg?
Essentially, that proposal is our proposal. I mean, we've been working very hard for the last month or 2 to put together this package of 5 new exceptional directors for the company. So we will be enthusiastically supporting that at the shareholder meeting.
In your opinion, is AIG too big to fail?
If you go back to when the decision was made by the Federal Reserve and the Treasury that it was too big to fail, I don't have all the information today that they had when they were making that decision. But if you ask me my best judgment as to what the situation was then, I would have said yes, it was too big to fail.
Okay.
Now, whether it should have gotten to that point is a totally different issue. But where things sat at the point that they felt they had to act, if I had still been in that seat, I think I would have been arguing the same case.
As far as the trustee model that you all operate under, this is the first time that we can find that this model has been put in place by the U.S. government. What is your opinion of the trustee model? Is it a oiled machine, or one that needs to be thoroughly revamped and revisited, and if so, how?
I think these are early days, and I would emphasize that. I would also say that we didn't have anything to do with the decision by the Fed and the Treasury to develop the trustee model. So, it wasn't invented here. I understand the problem that the Treasury and the Federal Reserve had that gave rise to their looking for a mechanism that would permit the stock to be voted in the best interests of the government, but without the potential for conflict of interest. And I think this is a reasonable model to do it. We've been working together as a team since the end of January, and intensely since we got the stock. I think the three-trustee model and the way the trust authorizes the three trustees to proceed has so far been an exceptional model. It expects us to act through a consensus and to the maximum extent possible to act in unanimity. It does provide a mechanism so that if we cannot agree, two of the three trustees could go forward. To this point, I think I can say without hesitation that we have been able to talk things out and operate on every decision we've made, and there haven't been all that many, but every decision has been
Any other, I hate to cut you out, any other panelists?